It's official, guys. It is official. President Trump just did the unthinkable, and this changes everything. Today is Saturday, May the 3rd, I think. Yeah, today is Saturday, May the 3rd. And well, guys, President Trump, after years of watching billions of your taxpayer dollars flow into a foreign war with zero return, I mean, that's a horrible ROI, right? President Trump, he just made Ukraine sign a deal that forces them to pay us back. It's about freaking time, right? Not with more empty promises and all this other nonsense that Biden was accepting, but with real national wealth, critical rare earth minerals, energy, infrastructure rights, things that actually have value. This is not aid, guys. This is reparations, okay? What do you guys think about reparations? Let me know in the comments down below. And guess who's furious? Russia. The Kremlin just issued a blistering statement attacking President Trump over the deal, calling it economic conquest. But here's the kicker, guys. Ukraine, they had no choice. President Trump told them, sign the deal or we're going to walk away permanently. And they caved. So you guys will not believe what is included in this deal. I cannot wait to share this with you guys. If you appreciate the daily news updates, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, guys. You're not going to believe what's included in this deal and why the U.S. now has first rights to every major mineral deposit in Ukraine. This isn't just payback. This is payday for America. And while President Trump is making moves that benefit every American, Democrats are crumbling. New polls just came out, and trust me, guys, you're going to see how badly they're getting destroyed right now. Stephen Miller just torched the media over immigration lies. Kamala Harris, she gave a speech that backfired so badly, even CNN winced. So stick with me, guys, because this is not just about the Ukraine. This is about finally putting America first and proving that leadership still matters. So let's go ahead and break it all down, all right? Starting with this jaw-dropping moment that the Ukraine finally gave in, right? So let's start with the big picture here, because this wasn't just any week. This marked President Trump's first 100 days back in office. And already the wins were stacking up pretty fast. So of course, the media just can't keep up. In just over, 3 months, Trump has done more to put America back on its feet than the last 4 years of reckless spending, endless wars, and wide open borders under Biden. And now, thanks to the Ukraine repayment deal, we're about to break down how he's actually proving that America is done being the world's ATM. And what's even more telling, the American people can feel the shift. And the polls, well, they're finally catching up to the reality that even CNN cannot spin anymore. Now, new polling just out yesterday shows President Trump and the Republican Party are destroying Democrats across every major issue. On the economy, Republicans now lead by 9 points. On immigration, a whopping 19-point lead. That's unheard of in modern politics. And when voters are asked who they trust to lead the country, Trump leaves Democrats in the dust, even when matched directly against Kamala Harris. 45-43. That's the margin. And it's not just a poll. This is actually mirroring the actual 2024 election results. Now, here's where it gets brutal. Even when voters are told to compare President Trump against congressional Democrats, they still pick Trump by 8 full points. CNN was forced to air this information on their broadcast. So let me say that again. CNN had to admit Trump is winning. And their faces just told the whole story better than the numbers ever could. Folks, this is what happens when you actually fight for our country instead of apologizing for it like some wimp. But don't go anywhere, guys, because the Ukraine repayment bombshell is next, and Russia's furious about it. They're really upset. Trump just secured repayment for $350 billion in U.S. aid by forcing the Ukraine to hand over priority rights to their entire mineral supply. Guys, this is including their minerals for like lithium, cobalt, energy reserves. And the way he pulled it off, it has both Putin and Democrats absolutely losing their minds. So I want to break this down for you guys. I want to break down how Trump turned what was a gift into a historic America First investment and what it means for the US economy, the defense industry, and our global position moving forward. So, all right. Now, for the part that's got the globalists shaking and the media scrambling for damage control, Ukraine is officially paying back the $350 billion that Biden threw at them with zero accountability. Do you understand the power of this, guys? If you support President Trump bringing in the bacon, bringing in that money back, that cash back to us, drop a 47 in the comments down below, guys. So you might be wondering, well, how did Trump do this and Biden couldn't? Well, through a very, basically a first of its kind deal that essentially gives America full priority access to Ukraine's most valuable assets, their rare earth minerals, hydrocarbons, and of course, their infrastructure projects. It's actually a very brilliant move if you think about it. Guys, we're talking about lithium, cobalt, energy pipelines, um, all under US control before any other country gets a chance to touch it. That's freaking strategic and brilliant. And make no mistake, this isn't aid anymore. This is repayment. This is a transaction. This is finally fair for us, for the United States. This is leverage. This is Trump doing what Biden never did, securing real returns for your tax dollars. And I don't even understand why he didn't even think to do this. So after months of tough negotiations, Ukraine finally signed at the dotted line. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, he met face to face with Ukraine's first deputy prime minister to close the deal. President Trump's message to the Ukraine was very clear. You either sign at the freaking dotted line or the US walks away forever. And of course, they caved and they signed. So the agreement gives American energy companies exclusive first rights to every major natural resource discovery in Ukraine. If a new lithium deposit is found, guess what? We get first dibs. If cobalt is discovered, we found it first. It's ours. It's mine, right? It's ours to mine. And of course, the infrastructure to rebuild their country, our companies build it. Trump said it best. This is not my war. It's Biden's war. I'm just trying to stop it and make sure America doesn't look foolish for once. And who hates this deal? You guessed it, Russia. The Kremlin issued a furious statement accusing President Trump of strong-arming Ukraine into using its national wealth to pay for military supplies. Their words, not mine. Now, the truth is here, guys, it's this. Trump's deal just positioned the United States as the primary economic force in Eastern Europe without firing a single shot. No bullets, no missiles, rockets, nothing. That is what winning looks like. The power of the pen, so to speak. But President Trump didn't stop there either. The Biden era blank checks are gone. The first $50 million military package under President Trump has now been approved, but Ukraine will be paying for it out of their own pocket. For the first time in years, our weapons aren't being handed out like candy. They're part of a transaction, not some free giveaway. So this is the kind of leadership, guys. This is the kind of leadership that really just kind of boosts our defense industry, strengthens our global position, and it even protects our wallet, obviously, right? Under Biden, it was 350 billion. Under Biden, it was 350 billion down the drain, flushed. Just here you go, no strings attached. Under Trump, no sirree, Bob. Hey, by the way, guys, if you're one of the real ones who really enjoy what we do here on the channel, you've got to check out the Inner Circle. This is where our true supporters get exclusive access to content that I just can't share here, completely commercial free. It's also the best way to keep this channel going strong. So if you want to be a part of something special, join us over there. Links in the description or in the pinned comment down below. It's a strategic asset. And for the first time, we're not just sending aid, we're actually getting something back. And inside the White House, not everybody is on board. Of course, we got to talk about how Trump just fired his own national security advisor and his top deputy, and the truth behind that whole shakeup that could expose some rather serious backstabbing and some war hawk manipulation going on inside the NSC itself. So I want to go ahead and break that down. We got some explosive resignations that have come down the pipeline. Some people literally just said, hey, I quit. What the media won't tell you about Signalgate, and who's secretly trying to sabotage President Trump's peace strategy with Iran. Now, you're going to want to see this, guys. So, while President Trump is securing deals left and right, flipping the balance of power in Europe, and skyrocketing the polls, he's also having to deal with something, let's just say it's rather dangerous: sabotage from the inside. So, remember when Kamala Harris said the enemy is within or something like that? Yeah. So this week, President Trump officially fired National Security Advisor Mike Waltz and his deputy, Alex Wong. And while the media is desperately trying to spin it as some form of a resignation, I want to share the truth with you guys. Multiple sources inside the West Wing already confirmed it. Trump asked for their resignations, period. Why? Because Waltz wasn't doing his job. His office was leaking like a sieve. You got key personnel. They were never properly vetted. And worse, Waltz was allegedly trying to manipulate U.S. policy toward war with Iran. This is something that President Trump adamantly is against. Trump, he just wants diplomacy, not another endless war. But Waltz, he was acting like a classic neocon war hawk, pushing for confrontation and working against the president's peace strategy behind closed doors when nobody was looking. So you might remember Signalgate, right? When a Trump-hating Atlantic reporter was added to an internal NSC chat thread, that embarrassment was traced right back to Waltz's team. Now, some insiders, they're saying that, what should have gotten him fired, well, it really should have gotten him fired. Ironically, it may have saved him temporarily. President Trump, he didn't want to look like he was buckling to media pressure, right? But now that the dust has settled, the president is cleaning house. And you better believe there is a lot more than meets the eye. So who's replacing this guy? That's where it gets even more interesting. So the leading candidate was Christopher Landau, who's earned essentially high praise at the State Department. And guess what, guys? Marco Rubio blocked him. He wants to keep Landau for himself. Loyalty politics in full effect. Now, there's also Steve Witko, a top Trump envoy and a close friend to the president. But just as his name ended up surfacing, the New York Post suddenly published a hit piece. You don't say, right? Not the New York Post. Yeah. Calling him a bumbling idiot and saying that he's unfit to lead. Anonymous sources, no accountability, just classic DC smear campaign. You know how they do. So why the timing? Well, insiders are saying that it's because word got out that Witkow, he was the front runner and the swamp wanted to stop it. Dirty Games is still alive and well, as you can see. But that wasn't even the wildest moment of this week, guys. We need to talk about Steve Miller. Okay? Stephen Miller, he took the podium at the White House and absolutely obliterated the media for their lies on immigration. Look, he even called out Kamala Harris by name after her disgraceful speech. And literally what he said is going to have Democrats panicking going into November. You're going to hear exactly why Miller says what the Biden-Harris team did to this country is unforgivable. Yeah. Real quick, guys. Just let me know in the comments. If you think what the Biden team did to this country is unforgivable, just let me know in the comments. And also, why the American people are finally waking up. All right, guys. So if there was ever a moment this week where the gloves came off, it was when Stephen Miller's press briefing at the White House took place. Now, guys, this wasn't just some rebuttal. This was scorched earth takedown of Kamala Harris, the liberal media, and the Democratic Party's entire immigration legacy. After former presidential candidate Kamala Harris gave a nasty speech accusing Trump of being heartless toward immigrants, Stephen Miller, he walked up to that podium and he ripped the mask off. Do you guys think that Trump is being insensitive or heartless toward immigrants, or is he just upholding the law? Let me know what you think on that. Now, Stephen Miller, he looked straight at the press corps and said, "Hey, look, the only thing Americans want to hear from Kamala Harris is an apology." Do you agree with Stephen Miller? Does Kamala Harris owe the United States an apology? He even reminded every reporter in the room that every American watching what the Biden Harris administration really did: 10 million illegal border crossings, fentanyl floods, and thousands of preventable strategies. And what's worse, the Washington media covers none of it. They know what gets them outraged. Not not Americans dying. It's whether illegal immigrants get put on freaking trial fast enough. That's what gets them pissed off. So Steve Miller did not hold back, guys. He literally called the open border agenda an eternal stain on the Democratic Party, like a diaper stain. And he's right. While Democrats, they're crying about compassion, ladies and gentlemen, the real human cost is being paid by American families: dead moms, trafficked kids, shattered lives. And yet the media turns a blind eye while they obsess over Trump's tone. Stephen Miller, he ended his speech with a very powerful message about Trump's leadership. We finally have a president whose first and last thought is the safety and the sovereignty of this particular republic with its citizens. We didn't have that before. Now, if you thought Kamala Harris looked bad after that, wait till you see wait till you see Chuck Schumer. So Chuck Schumer, he stepped up next, thinking he could spin the numbers in his favor, right? But what happened instead? Well, he exposed just how broken the Democratic Party really is, and now his approval rating is the lowest in US history. So I want to break that down for you guys real quick. Plus, these new polls have both parties scrambling behind closed doors. So after Stephen Miller dropped the mic at the White House, right? Guess who came running to do damage control? Any guesses? Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. And what he did next, it might go down as probably the most embarrassing press conference of the year. So Chuck Schumer, he went live and actually tried to cherry pick data to make it look like Trump's approval was collapsing. Yeah, he tried. He tried that. He essentially claimed that Trump had the lowest 100-day approval rating in 80 years. But while he was talking, CNN was literally airing data that showed Democrats getting crushed across every issue. And the irony? While Chuck Schumer was trying to dunk on Trump, reporters in that same briefing pointed out that Chuck Schumer's own approval rating was only 17%. How's that for getting egg on your face, right? Let me repeat that, guys. 17%. 1-7. This is the lowest congressional approval rating ever recorded in US polling history. Like, you have to be a professional to suck that bad. And apparently he is. So this means even Democrats, they don't want to hear from Chuck Schumer anymore. His own base is turning on him. Independents, gone. And Republicans, well, they were never there to begin with. But this tells us something huge, guys. The Democrats are completely out of touch. Their message is not landing. Their leaders are polling in the basement. And the more they talk, the worse things get. This isn't a Trump bump. This is a Democratic collapse. The media can't spin this. The polls can't be sliced. But the truth is right there in the numbers. Americans do not trust them. And when you add in what's coming next, their panic is just getting started, right? So what we need to talk about is Trump's new America First energy strategy. And it's got China and Europe in a panic, and for very good reason too. So I'm gonna break down why the Ukraine's rare earth minerals are a golden ticket for the US security, and how President Trump just called out Europe for freeloading off American taxpayers for years. Guys, you definitely want to hear this next part because it's about money, it's about power, It's about this global shift that puts the US back in the driver's seat. All right, so let's bring this thing full circle, guys, because while Democrats are essentially fighting over polling numbers and stupid media sound bites, President Trump, he's flipping the global power structure right under their noses. This mineral deal with the Ukraine, it's not just repayment. This is a part of a bold new America First energy strategy that's already sending shockwaves through Europe and China. Now, the Ukraine, they're sitting on billions of dollars worth of critical minerals. You got lithium, cobalt, graphite, the stuff that powers these electric vehicles, defense systems, semiconductors, and a whole lot of other stuff. Well, President Trump just secured first rights to all of it, which means for the first time, the US doesn't have to beg China for rare earths. We don't have to play nice with supply chains that hate us. We now own the rights to a strategic gold mine. That's not just an economic win. This is a national security victory. And the globalists know it and they hate it. But here's the part that's really going to make your blood boil. Trump revealed that America gave like $350 billion to Ukraine between Biden's cash and military gifts. In Europe only gave $100 billion. Ladies and gentlemen, take this in for a second. We gave 3 times as much and we got nothing in return. Meanwhile, Europe, they gave $100 billion and they gave it in the form of a loan. So it's almost like they didn't even give it. Trump said it very plainly. I felt foolish. We're the ones propping up the war and Europe is the one that's getting paid back. So I told Ukraine, we're done unless we get something real. And now we did. So while Biden handed out free money, Trump handed out some terms. So I think that this is probably the clearest example yet of what America First really means. No more endless giveaways. No more getting taken advantage of. No more freaking blank checks. No more sacrificing our security so that Europe can pretend to be noble. Trump didn't just get Ukraine to pay us back. He rewrote the rules and we need to come out ahead. So that's what real leadership looks like. Now, if you believe that, this kind of bold leadership is exactly what America needs right now, I want you to share this video. I want you to comment down below and make sure that you are subscribed to this channel for the updates that the mainstream media will never show you. Because if this is what Trump did in his first 100 days, can you imagine what he has planned for the... Hey, by the way, guys, if you're one of the real ones who really enjoy what we do here on the channel, you've got to check out the Inner Circle. This is where our true supporters get exclusive access to content that I just can't share here, completely commercial free. It's also the best way to keep this channel going strong. So if you want to be a part of something special, join us over there. Links in the description or in the pinned comment down below.